Arizona, homeowner's best friend.
You had mentioned something interesting as well, and you kind of briefly touched on it just now, was the growing calendar for Maricopa County. Those growing calendars are based off of agriculture, which is, generally speaking, big fields with no shade.
No shade, except the shade of the neighboring plant, which is the same plant typically. It's all monocultured, it's all the same thing, and so they're all growing together at the same time, all in full sun. And that's exactly right. And that is one of the 6 microclimates. We call that the B microclimate.
Okay.
And so the B microclimate for us, or the orange microclimate, if we're going by our color scale, the orange microclimate is full sun spaces. And that's historically, thousands of years, that is the prime zone, because that's where people could easily grow. You know, they could get water to it. They knew that fruiting things fruited better in that space. But with our shrinking landscapes, to get an affordable house these days, you got to get a smaller house with a smaller yard, but everyone still has that interest. There's still a high percentage of people that want to grow their own food at home. But the area that's optimal according to history, agricultural history, which is full sun space, that B microclimate, it's a shrunken space. And in some cases, non-existent. And so people, bless their hearts, still attempt to follow that same guidelines when they don't have the optimal situation for the historic planting calendars. And so they fail on a regular basis and they become discouraged. But what I'm sharing with everybody here today is that you don't have to be discouraged if failure happens for you, because it might be the wrong calendar for the exact area you're trying to grow in. And it may be the wrong plants to fit that space. Just like the thousands of years, and we don't have thousands of years of studying microclimates, we've got 20. We got 23 years of studying microclimates in this way to try to classify it. And that's it. And that's not a whole lot of time, because it takes time to experiment with things. Things don't just grow in 2 days and you can see if it worked. It's not social media for gardening. I sure wish my garden could work like social media, get instant response when I plant an idea, or plant a seed. It automatically pops up and I know whether it's going to work or not. We have to take time. And so we've got 24 seasons, annual seasons that we've been studying microclimates. And so we've got some good data. And we've got some good reclassification. We actually started with 24 different metrics that we were measuring, including not just sun orientation, but humidity and evaporative effects. So there were a lot of different factors that we were studying. And we had 24 different microclimates that kind of came out of these 8 different factors. But then we found that 80% of the data was favoring 6. And so that's why we kind of disseminated it down to these 6, because some things,
that was
relevant.
I was wondering where you were going with on the 24 metrics. After this amount of time, has the metric expanded or contracted, and it's shrunk a little bit?
It shrunk. Well, we knew that we needed to get down to where is at least 80% of the data effective. It's like, and it disseminated down to really, we've got 6 major microclimates, the major factor being its orientation to the sun. And then within those microclimates, those 6 classifications, we have kind of subtypes. And subclasses that would be necessary that we would need to apply relative to what we want to grow. Like if I wanted to grow pineapples, for instance, I would want to be in an E microclimate, which we'll probably talk about later. But I would need some ambient humidity, so I would need to increase another factor in order to really have them succeed and fruit. I would have to increase the humidity relative to the normal area, at least here in the Phoenix area, in order for that to truly succeed. And so adding a water feature or some other things, there's some ways to do that, misters, the type of watering you use. So those things would then play into effect based on what you want to grow. And so we've simplified the process. It's complicated. I feel like I'm making it sound really complicated. It has been a complicated process to figure this out, but we've made it simple. There's 6 microclimates. We color code them, and there's charts for each one of those microclimates.
Rosie on the house, every Arizona homeowner's best friend.